This is a Disston backsaw that I featured in a video called something like Flea Market Finds Rip and Backsaw. I bought this saw for $1. Now when I first introduced this saw in that video, I said I thought this saw was probably made in the 70s. But I've done some more research and it more likely was made in the 50s. Either way, it's a decent backsaw and we're going to restore this to working order. You can see I have markings along the handle where I was going to shape and cut, and I may still do that just to make the handle feel better in my hands. If nothing else, I'll probably just round off these square sections of the handle. So that they feel a bit better in my hands. This plate is rusted, but I believe most of it is surface rust, and it's really fine rust. I don't even know if a razor blade will take that off. I may have to sand, but I doubt that there's any pitting, or if there is, that there's any serious pitting going on. There's my neighbor's dogs. Silly boogers. So we're going to remove this handle. And set it aside for now. We'll work on that later. But now, we're going to see what this razor blade will do, if anything, to the rust on this. Saw plate. Well, it's taking some up. I can't find. I had a package that had several of these blades in it. These single-edge blades. I can't find it. So that's not doing the greatest job, but it will let me get rid of any of the loose rust. See, this side, it's not really even doing anything. So we're going to switch, and I don't think that'll do it. No, that's alright. We're going to switch to 60 grit sandpaper. And sand the snot out of it. We're just going to keep sanding. But until we get a result we're happy with. This will end up being my main joinery saw. So I want this as clean as I can get it. It's not of a vintage where I'm worried about it, you know, showing a lot of age or anything like that. In other words, in my opinion, there's not enough history to this saw plate to really worry about it. So I'm gonna get it as clean as I can without spending an inordinate amount of time dealing with it, because I'm weighing the benefit versus the time spent. And one of the things also that you should understand is it costs $1. So I mean, and I'm not taking this spine off. If a backsaw, the way a backsaw sets in this spine will help to determine whether or not the plate is actually straight. And you can remove that spine and end up not being able to get the sucker back in right. Usually you can, and I have done it and all of that. And if I think somewhere along the line that I really should take this spine off, then I'll do it. But for now, we're not going to do it. So now this is a boatload of just sanding. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sand this down to the level that I want it with this 60 grit sandpaper. And maybe with the 120. And we may come back when this plate is done, or we may come back when I switch to 120. That's at the 120 on this side. What I'm going to do, I'm going to flip it over and work on this side. By the way, the grit that I used on here I thought was 60. It's actually 40. But I'm going to kill a spider. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap this around this block. And what I'm trying to do, I'm going to go to 220, although I might not show that. And I might actually go up to 320 or 400. Because what I want to do is get the plate really smooth. On the vintage saws, I don't go this far, and this is a vintage saw, but it's not a vintage saw. This is not a 30s or 40s saw. Okay, it's a 50s era. But on the vintage saws, I don't go this far because I don't want to take away all the the black and stuff that's on the blade for two reasons. The first reason is it's an old saw. And I want that age to show because I think that's beautiful. This saw is not that old. But second of all, a lot of them have etchings and stuff like that. I don't want to take that away either. And third of all, that really dark black stain type of rust actually protects. It's almost like a finish that will protect the steel. This does not have that. So I don't have a problem taking this down as far as I want to go. Now I'm not going to try to restore it to brand new or anything of the sort, but since it will be my main joinery saw, and since it's not a super old saw, I'm going to smooth this plate out as much as I can so that the saw plate will move through the wood a lot better. That's the theory anyway. As far as whether or not that's in practice that works, who knows? I just know that for me, there's some more 120. And I changed the grits. I know a lot of people, oh, you could still use that. That's not, because it's not. But I'd rather waste a little sandpaper than wear my flipping arm out trying to sand with sandpaper that is not as aggressive as it should be. And so Fat Boy here is going to change the sandpaper because the sandpaper is a lot cheaper than wearing out my elbow at my age. Your mileage may vary. You might be young and can deal with it and all of that, but I'll give you a little secret just for your own sake. You can do with it what you want, but the less you injure yourself and hurt yourself and push your body when it's doing things that can be destructive, like repetitive motions like this, the better off you're going to be when you get my age. And that's a free tip from me to you. I'm not saying don't work hard. You're better off to work hard in your younger years than your older years. But pay attention to your body, because all the stuff that, if you're young, all the stuff you're doing to it now, you can pay for. That's a fact. Period. Alright, so let's sweep that off. That looks pretty blooming good to me. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to do some 220. And I never can get these papers, sandpaper, folded right and cut right for like one of these. I guess it's a 1/3 sheet sander or something like that. Never can. But that's all right. All right. Where's the, yeah, here we go. Fresh sheet. All right, there's the finished saw plate. I went to 220, and then I took, if I can get that up there. Some mothers and polished it. The reason I did that, I've said this before, it's not because I'm looking to make the saw plate super shiny, although it does shine it up a bit. I want that mothers to get down into any scratches the sandpaper might have left, or any pits that actually might be in this, and try to push as much of the corrosion out of it as I can. That's the point of it. So let's move on to the handle. This is 220. I'm just gonna, once again, I'm not gonna reshape this handle. What I'm gonna do is actually just smooth out these round over those square corners and all of that. And that is not doing what I want. So we're going to go to 60 and take that down to bare wood because I'm tired of playing. If it'll go down, I might have to scrape it down with the side of a chisel. We shall see. Okay, so that's bare wood. So what I'm going to do, instead of using this flat block, and I know that's bare wood because I can feel it. I'll go back to a flat block with higher grit paper. Right now, I want to get the finish off of here. I could take a random orbit sander to it if I really wanted to. But we're not going to do that. And it's blooming raining.